O Show. This is the Big O Show.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. That is George Richards. Mr. Richards, how are you doing, sir?
Heard you messing with the Browns.
I know. What the hell is, dude? They're thinking of bringing back. They're thinking of. Oh, the Browns. I see. See, so yeah. I see you. Where'd you now? Are you a Browns fan or is this just a collection thing?
No, I'm a Browns fan.
Wow. So you're thinking of internal discussions about bringing Odell back.
Yeah.
They may be forced to keep Baker Mayfield for the whole season.
Right.
Watson's now got 24 lawsuits. I mean,
yeah, I haven't worn the Browns stuff much since the Deshaun Watson deal, but
you were unhappy with that one, huh? Because I would have been.
I mean, obviously he's a talent. I mean, there's no doubt about how good he is. I mean, but my God, I mean, unless the Browns know something we don't, and if the Dolphins did not know, I mean, because you see the reports about the Dolphins wanted everything taken care of, obviously, and at the time I guess it was 22. Now it's 24. It's not a good look. It's not a good look for the organization. I mean, the guy, but when you're the Cleveland Browns and you've had 38 starting quarterbacks since you came back into the league, you're desperate, right? You're desperate.
Yeah, and desperate teams do
what the Browns
things, and that's what they did. Yeah, and that's why
the fully guaranteed contract, the 1 year, this year he's going to get paid $1 million. Everything else is signing bonus. So when he gets suspended for 14 games or whatever, he's getting paid. So
right.
But it's not my money.
Yeah. No,
so
but
Baker
the NFL
Mayfield may be your starting quarterback with Odell Beckham being mad the whole time.
And you're right, and Dad putting out videos.
Yeah, there'll be more of those. Yeah,
right,
sure.
Exactly.
Because why not? I mean, maybe he goes back to the Rams on a discount deal. Let the Browns pay the freight.
It's just a bad look for the league and for the Browns.
Yeah, but again, maybe they know something we don't. I don't know. So, they're not talking. That's the other thing. They're really not talking about it.
Apparently, they don't know. Apparently, they don't know as much as they thought because we weren't talking about 23 and 24, and even the Dolphins, they wanted 22 resolved.
Yeah, but when you're at 22, what's the difference? I mean, at this point, what's the difference?
Well, no, but if you're the Dolphins and you would have gotten the 22 resolved, two more would have popped up now.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's just the league should have put the guy on the commissioner's list until it was done, and then say, all right, nobody can trade for the guy.
He didn't play last year anyway.
Right, exactly. We're going to wait until everything is resolved before he's allowed to play. That's it.
Free money, though, for old Deshaun. Good for him.
Yeah. Oh, shit. He got $10 million last year just for hanging out.
Just for chilling. He had to live in Houston, but aside from that.
Well, he was in the Bahamas a lot.
Well, yeah. Well, have you ever been to Houston?
Yes, I have. The East-West Shrine was there for a few years, and I actually stayed an entire summer when I was a kid back in the late 70s, I think it was. Yes, late 70s.
They have our weather in the summer, but no charm.
Right.
The food's good. Orlando, how are you?
Traffic like crazy. I'm doing great. I can't complain. Unless I was an Oilers fan. Dude.
Love you, blue. Love you,
bro,
blue.
Colorado, bro. Unleash the Kraken. Holy shit, these guys are good.
Yep.
Dominant, bro.
Colorado, yeah. Well, listen, I mean, we knew going into these playoffs that the Western Conference was the easiest route. I mean, that's why the Avs were such heavy favorites to win the Cup, because they had the easiest way through. I mean, they got to open with the Nashville Predators. They had it, they got through Edmonton, like a warm knife through soft butter. The West was a joke, but listen, Colorado's legit, man. They are a legitimate. They are legitimately good, and we said that all year. I mean, even when Colorado got off to a slow start, they were still 1 or 2 in all the power rankings, and that was for a reason. They've got a complete team. I don't know how good the goaltending is, but we'll see what happens with them. But they're extremely solid on both ends of the ice.
Yeah, and the Lightning saved their asses the other day with the coming back down 2-0 to get them 3 goals and win, and that might be the spark that kind of wakes them up in a way. While the Rangers deserve to go to the Stanley Cup, and there'll be a good fight for Colorado, dude. I really want to see Tampa, Colorado, because Tampa's going for 3 in a row, and if they can get the third one against this Avalanche team, that would make this, that this dynasty-like run would be that much more impressive for Tampa if they can, put the icing on the cake with a win over the Avs. And plus, Tampa and the Avalanche, dude, that's a heavyweight fight if I've ever seen one. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. And you talk about the dynasties in the NHL over the years, the Islanders, the Oilers, all these teams, the Red Wings teams, the Colorado teams. This would be a salary cap dynasty for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've had challenges that other teams haven't had. Now, we can talk all you want about last year, and they were $17 million over the cap in the playoffs, but those are the rules. They definitely got helped last year by the short season, by that 56 game schedule, knowing that the top 4 teams from each division went in. They knew they were one of the top 4 teams. They could have sat half their team and made the playoffs last year, and they knew it, and that's why they did what they did. But Hey, listen, they're a mile and a half away from it, though. They're still down 2-1 in this series. They got game 4 tonight against the Rangers. The Rangers most definitely can steal one tonight and take a 3-1 lead going back to the Garden. So Tampa Bay is a long, long way away from a three-peat or even facing Colorado. But yes, you're right. It would be a heck of a series.
All right, bring it locally. What are we hearing about Brunette? What's your gut telling you?
Well, I haven't heard a whole lot. I think they're still, looking at some things. You have to think whatever the decision is going to be made has been made. I said that weeks ago. People were asking me after the Panthers beat the Capitals, is he going to be the coach? I don't know. Will it depend on the Tampa series? I don't think so. I don't think it had anything to do with anything. Unless they won the cup, if he wins the cup, I think he's the coach for sure.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
I don't know what they're thinking.
If he gets to the finals and loses to the Avalanche, I think he's back too.
Yeah, well, you're probably right. Okay, I'll give you that. If you go to the Stanley Cup Finals, you're the Eastern Conference champs. Yeah, I think that probably gets him the job. But, and I'm not saying he doesn't. They very. I mean, the Florida Panthers are big fans of his. The players, the coaches, the front office staff. Again, I think he got, you saw what happened in the first round. I think the Washington Capitals had a great plan against the Panthers, but Florida reacted to it and came, moved past that. They didn't against Tampa Bay. As good as Vasilevsky was, Tampa Bay sold out and played their style the entirety of those 4 games. Florida didn't have any answer for it. So those are questions the Panthers have to answer. But again, I think the decision of whatever's going to happen was already made, or, they're working up. I think there's something going on in the background. I don't, you know what I mean? It's got that feeling.
George, let me just say
off a long time ago. You could have done it the day after the season. Hey, he's our guy. They haven't done that.
Yes, I'm with you,
and
bro.
then like I said, 2 months ago, I'm hearing, the Panthers aren't even sure Brunette wants the job full time. He said that he did. When we asked him a second time, Tim Reynolds from Associated Press asked, because I asked him after game 4 in Tampa, and it was a little, a couple days later, Tim asked him at the exit, and he said, yes, I want to be the head coach of the Panthers. So,
dude, they said all the right things. The Panthers said all the right things.
Did he say it the right way?
He said all the right things, but you nailed it. And you feel the same way what I feel. Well, my gut is telling me they're not keeping him, dude. Because if he was your guy and you were convinced, you would have already at the end of the season say, hey, we're ending all of this speculation. We're not going to let it float around. you know, Andrew's our guy. We're sticking with Brunette, and we're moving on. We're going to make some other. We're going to, you know, decide everything else. But the fact that they have not come out, because this is pretty cut and dry. This decision, either you're keeping him or you're not. I just get a feeling that they're going to try to find that veteran coach now.
Or right, because they could be talking to Barry Trotz. Does Barry Trotz want to come here? He's an upgrade over. I mean, you know, Andrew Burnett would agree with you. You know, Barry Trotz is a Cup champion. He's been doing it for 25, 30 years. If Joel Quenneville is available, you know, he's still under contract to the Panthers. I mean, there's no way he walked away from that contract. He had 4 years left. He has 3 years remaining on that contract at $6 million per year. He didn't walk away from it. He may have resigned. Maybe there was some kind of financial thing, but I have to think that Joel Quenneville is still involved with the Florida Panthers in some way. And you know,
can they bring him back?
If he's approved by the league, yeah. All he has to do is sit down with Gary Bettman, and none of us were in that room with Gary Bettman when Bill Zito and Matthew Caldwell went to New York to meet with Gary Bettman and the deputy commissioner. We don't know what was said in that meeting. Perhaps it was take some time off, Joel, go do some sensitivity training, let this thing blow over a little bit. Maybe you can come back. Total speculation. I don't know if that was the case. That may not be the case. The NHL may be saying, you know, the Chicago Blackhawks thing is still sitting around. And he didn't do anything when it comes to what happened. It was what happened afterwards. Joel Quenneville denied knowing anything about this, and that's obviously was not the case. He got caught in it. So, you know, the cover up is always worse than the action. So, we'll have to wait and see, but you've got to think with all this stuff that's going on, you know, Bruce Cassidy just got fired by the Boston Bruins yesterday. Why did the Bruins wait? On exit day, the Boston Bruins president was basically hinted that they were going to fire Bruce Cassidy, and they wait 2 weeks to do it, or 3 weeks, however long it was. Boston lost in the first round. So it's been it's been a while, and they just now did it yesterday. He's not coming here, I don't think. I mean, I don't think that he fits here, but it's interesting to see.
Who are the fits in your eyes?
I would think, it would be Barry Trotz for sure. Very popular player among players, but he's tough. But he's fair. I think everybody knows where you stand with a Barry Trotz. I think Joel Quenneville is still in that mix. When you're looking at, you know, the veteran coaches, I don't think that John Tortorella might be a guy that Florida talks to, but I don't think he's a fit here.
Isn't that the dude that always he's good, but he burns himself out everywhere?
Yeah, but you're looking at. Yeah, for sure. No. When you're talking about John Tortorella, yes, that is a very short shelf life. Same with Mike Keenan was like that. You know, Mike Keenan was a terrific coach, but after a couple of years, you got to move on from Keenan. Then he goes somewhere else and jump starts. But you're looking at a Florida Panther team that's playing for right this second. 3-4 years from now, this Panther team, you know, what's going to, you know, you got to play for today. If you think that John Tortorella can get you to the promised land, he won the Cup with Tampa Bay, he took the Rangers to the finals a couple years ago, then you have to consider it. But Bill Zito worked very closely with John Tortorella in Columbus. I only covered him the 1 year, and I don't think he's the right fit for this team. Bill Zito now has been around the Florida Panthers 3 years. He's been around John Tortorella 5 or 6. If he thinks that John Tortorella is the right fit, then I have to defer to him. But I think Bill probably saw the same things I did. I just don't think that Tortorella would be a fit with this team. Or maybe they think that that's exactly what this team needs is a Tortorella. I don't know.
George, give us some dates. When does free agency start in hockey? At what point will the Panthers have an opportunity to shake up any kind of a roster in making acquisitions or trades?
Boy, you got me on this one. It's usually July 1st, but I think because of COVID and everything, I think it's been moved. It might be around 4th of July, but it's coming up. It's you know, for a month away. It'll be in July. Florida Panthers have some decisions they have to make. They've got, again, they're only $4 million under the cap. So they don't have any room to really make any improvements. They really don't even have any room to sign the players that they've got. Giroux obviously is not, you've got to sign. You've only got, I think, 16, 17 players under contract, and you've only got $4 million. That's not going to go very far. So the Panthers are going to have to make some moves. We talked about that. They're going to have to clear up some space. The Panthers' improvements this year might come via trade. So we'll just have to wait and see on that.
All right. Looking forward to it. We'll be talking about it in July in our Florida Panthers lockdown segment. LennyLocksmith.com, 24-hour locksmith all throughout South Florida. Call them and check it out. LennyLocksmith.com, 855-869-5625. What are you working on Florida hockey now so folks can subscribe and check you out, my friend?
Well, we started our off season looking at the future of players. One of those guys is Mason Marchment. Broke out and had a it's hard to even say a career season because he hasn't really played any NHL. He became an NHL regular this year for the Panthers. He's unrestricted free agent. He's going to get paid. He's going to get himself a contract for the first time in his career. So we looked at his future here in Florida. It doesn't look very good for the Panthers re-signing Mason Marchment. But again, who knows? Maybe they trade somebody to be able to sign him. And we're going to continue that. We're looking at Mackenzie Weegar next. What's Mackenzie Weegar's future in Florida? He's got 1 year left on his contract, and then he becomes a free agent. He's a guy with the kind of statistics that he has. He's going to be able to get himself a very nice contract. We're talking $7+ million. For the right team. So Florida definitely cannot afford that. So what do you do? I mean, what do you do with a guy like Mackenzie Weegar? Do you keep him 1 year knowing that you can't sign him past this season, or do you trade him and try and bring in some other assets, that kind of thing? That would also free up like $3.5 million. So I'm not saying they're going to trade Mackenzie Weegar. I'm not saying they should trade Mackenzie Weegar, but you have to look into the future. Are you going to use Mackenzie Weegar as a rental, or like you did last year with Frank Vetrano, or do you try and get some assets now? And I'm kind of leaning that maybe Florida, knowing what Mackenzie Weegar is going to command on the open market, and it will be on the open market, they can't afford him.
Vetrano will be in action tonight. There you go.
Frankie Vetrano, 4th round draft pick you got for him.
That's right. So that's right.
You would have gotten probably more for him, but it is what it is when it comes to a deadline deal, trying to create some space. But you don't want to do that with a Mackenzie Weegar. You don't want to, plus
good pickup for the Rangers. That's for sure.
Yeah. Mackenzie Weegar, you would not trade at the deadline because you consider yourself a contender. At that point, you just hold on and you keep him. But at this time of year, you could really get some nice pieces for a player like that.
He made a couple
I'm not saying they will. I'm not saying they should, but they are thinking about it.
And he did make a couple of ugly mistakes there in the playoffs.
He did, and that's why everybody thinks that you're piling on right now. And that's not the case. I mean, he is a very skilled defenseman. He moves the puck very well.
Really good year.
He made a bad move in game 2. No doubt about it. He made it. Yeah, it was a bad play. He cost them game 2 with that play. Okay, but that's not what this is about. He's a very talented,
he had a really good year. Yeah,
and he's a big part of this Florida Panthers organization. Yeah. You want to sign him. You want to sign him to a long-term extension, but you can't afford it. So,
right. Yeah, tough stuff. All right. Yeah. Follow him on Twitter at George Richards, and please subscribe to Florida Hockey Now, doing his thing. George, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Orlando.
You got it.
Good
there
brother.
You go. You got it, my brother. Appreciate you. And man, he's a Browns fan. You got to admire that, dude. You got to admire that. Right?
Yeah, but you go from what happened with the Panthers to now you're looking forward to the Brown season? At least we're looking forward to the Dolphins season.
He's
poor George, you got to look forward to what? The Browns?
They got a good team, dude.
They do, but with everything else going on, the drama.
I know. But if they just fix that damn quarterback position, they've put together a hell of a roster. That is the lockdown segment.
This O Show. This is the Big O Show.